How do you get funders to feel your energy and be as excited as you are about your event? What converts best, and what do you do if you're terrified of being on video? Today we are unpacking these questions and more as we discuss Zoom versus phone calls. What's the best method for communicating with potential partners? And what's going to get you the result that you're looking for? Let's go ahead and jump right into today's episode here at the Nothing for Granted podcast. Welcome to Nothing for Granted, a space for aspiring grant writers who are tired of feeling undervalued, underpaid, and overworked by your understaffed nonprofit. Hi, my name is Eliana, grant writer, grants consultant, and freelance coach for Christian entrepreneurs. I live for long-distance cycling rides, iced chai lattes, and outdoor adventures with my 4 little beasts. I teach you grant writing strategies and freelance tactics that set you apart when launching and scaling your Holy Spirit-led business. I too was paralyzed by those questions. So paralyzed, in fact, that I launched my business twice, thinking maybe I should take another training because, underqualification. Well, 5 certifications on my wall later. But what if I told you that with a little basic knowledge and next to no experience, you too could launch a successful and sustainable freelance grant consulting business while pursuing that degree, raising littles, and maybe getting a tan on the beach? Permission granted to stop feeling guilty over leaving behind that organization that has you stagnant and to confidently and boldly step into the most elevated version of who you were created to be. You're here for encouragement, accountability, and a slight tough love kick in the butt. No goals, just standards. Lace up your combat boots, tighten up that ponytail. Girl, it's time to get to work. Visionary, thank you so much for being here today. If you have not been made aware, next Thursday, the 24th, I am hosting a totally free workshop. This is especially for those of you founders or freelancers who are working with clients that are just starting off in their funding journey. If you are receiving questions as a freelancer like, I have no idea where to start, where can I find grants? What documentation do I need to have? What are funders really looking for, and how can I get ahead of the game? You can join me next Thursday, that's March the 24th at 10 a.m. That's Eastern Time at bit.ly/funding and freelance. You can go ahead and RSVP your space there. I'm going to have some resources for you as well that you can walk away with. And I look forward to having you. If you guys have any questions regarding, is this a good fit? Can I go if I'm working for an organization? Absolutely, you can. Any other questions that you have, just feel free to send me a DM on Instagram. That's at Buffalo Ambition Co. Or you can post it on the Facebook group page or email me at hello@buffaloambitionco.com. Let's go ahead and jump right into this episode. So I want to be super duper honest here in saying that emails have made us insensitive. And this is coming from somebody that is naturally pretty insensitive to begin with, okay? I feel like we just have no real empathy when we're going through emails or even writing emails. I'm so guilty of this. Sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and either shoot a text to somebody on the team of the academy, or I'll send an email and it'll be like, name, need, thanks. And that's it. And sometimes my husband will call me out and be like, hey, good morning. Like, you didn't even, ease into that. When I used to work in corporate America, my team and we used to hold each other accountable. And rather than just send out emails and, write out these long-winded explanations as to why we're not canceling their contract or like whatever the case is, we would ask each other, is that a phone call conversation? Like, are you writing this long email when you know that's a phone call conversation? Just get it over with. I think that sometimes we become too complacent and too comfortable just sending out emails and having that back and forth, and we're not really acknowledging the fact that it's probably a face-to-face or phone call conversation, and we just don't want to deal with it. So just wanted to send that caveat out there. Sometimes when you are going through these proposals, when you're going through, let's just talk at a super basic level, just going through the negotiations, right? Going through your vetting process or going through that negotiation stage with a potential sponsor, you have to ask yourself, like, is this worth my energy in responding to their, I don't know, I received one today, like 10 questions. I looked at it, I started to answer the first question and I said, oh, her mobile's on here. I went ahead and I just called her and I say, hey, so-and-so, I got your email. Hi, thanks so much for getting back to me. Let's discuss. I'm not going to spend the next 30 minutes responding to her questions. That's absolutely crazy. Let's just hash this out so I can get the answer that I'm looking for so that she can hear the excitement in my voice and we can have that be that. But number one, I think you really need to ask yourself, is this a phone call conversation or can I get this done and accomplished via email? I think that if you even have to ask that question to yourself, you already know the answer. So how do you choose between Zoom and phone calls? And I just want to say, when I say Zoom, this can mean Skype, this can mean Google Meets, like whatever the medium you use for video conferencing is, that's what I mean. Whatever the equivalent to your Zoom is, that's what I'm talking about. So how do you choose between the two? Well, honestly, that's up to the sponsor or the funder. It really is up to them. I give that option to them. I always like to include 2 different ways of getting back to me. And we have to keep in mind that each partner is different and you have to be prepared and you have to be open to both. In some of my other episodes, I've talked about how as a freelancer, you're going to have clients. I've had clients out of the country and I'm not a WhatsApp user. I always forget to check my notifications and I hate that, I'm a part of other groups and if I have the notifications on, they'll go off all day and it's like a whole thing. WhatsApp, I don't get it. And when I work with with international clients, I have to get out of my comfort zone because that is their preferred method. It's not about me. It's about the client. It's about how can I bring ease to this process. And so it really is going to be up to the funder. What method are they most comfortable with? And like I mentioned, you have to be open to both. Now, at this point, you're going to say, well, what if I'm afraid of being on video? What if video scares me? Or what if, I hate doing my makeup and that's why I hate video. Like I hate having to get ready. Well, this is just a part of the gig. We all have portions of the job that we don't absolutely love. And if you're a person that doesn't like being on video, this might be one of them. My recommendation to you is to just keep doing it until you get comfortable. I always have notes in front of me because you're going to forget things. It's not a big deal. I do always, if I'm working, I have a full face of makeup on. I'm dressed like I'm going into the office. Like I physically get ready for work because it helps me mentally. So if that helps you when you're hopping on video, then do that. Do whatever is going to make you feel more comfortable. And keep in mind that these video calls aren't going to be very long. Very rarely have I had 1-hour conversations with a sponsor, and that was when most recently I had to go somewhere in person. So how do you set this up? Okay, let's say that the client has chosen telephone as their method of contact. Okay, perfect. You're going to pick up your phone and you're going to call them. They should have a direct line, and if they don't, just give them your direct line. I always prefer to acquire somebody's phone number only because I don't want them calling me at a time where I'm working with my 4 kids, for example. Then it kind of gets weird and it becomes a more casual conversation versus a more business-minded conversation. And not to say that that's a bad thing, but I don't want to be talking, trying to negotiate when I have, I don't know, my 3-year-old screaming in the background. Like that's not the scenario I want to put myself in. So I like to obtain their contact information and me reach out to them at a time that works, and just ask them like, hey, is this the best contact number for you? And what are the times that work? Now, because I've mentioned I don't like the back and forth, I'm going to put you on to the resource that I personally use, whether this is phone calls or Zoom, and it is Calendly. So Calendly is basically just an online calendar. How you set this up is you visit calendly.com and you just create a free version account. That free version will give you one free service. So for example, you can just put, grow foundation meeting. Like that's it. And that's the only type of meeting that you have. And that will get you through. So you go ahead, you create your free account on Calendly, you set the blocks of time that you're available. So you're going to set your schedule and you set your time zone. You want to block out the dates that you are not going to be available because you have other things going on. And then you're going to integrate this with your video meeting platform. Okay, so that could be Zoom, that can be Google Meets, that can be Skype, whatever it is, but you want to make sure that you integrate it. Once you have completed that, right, and you have customized the last part of the URL with your business name, then in your email communication to that partner, you are going to add that link at the end of your communication. So it'll say something like, thank you so much for reaching back out to me. I would love it if let me know what dates and times work for you. Here's my calendar, blah, 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 blah. That way they can just, instead of you guys having to go back and forth, they could just schedule a meeting off rip and you can cut down on your follow-up time and lock that in sooner rather than later. So if this made sense, perfect. If it didn't, no worries. All of the steps I'm going to have down below in the show notes. So don't worry about that. And I'm going to send it out as well into the Facebook group page. For those of you that haven't joined, it's bit.ly/funding and freelance. So I'll add that in as a resource as well with the link and everything. So be sure to join. That way you guys can get your account set up. And this is a no way sponsor, by the way, just sharing resources. So ultimately, what is my preference? Zoom versus phone calls. So I am a video girl. Any opportunity that I get to get somebody on video, I'm going to do exactly that. I feel like video just transfers the energy better. I feel like video, I can read off other people's non-verbal mannerisms and behaviors, and I can better pick up on whether or not they're retaining information, if their eyes are glazing over and there's just total disinterest and I need to pivot my delivery. I feel like Zoom is also just a great opportunity for us to start building a relationship, right? Outside of just the sponsorship, because even if the sponsorship doesn't happen, it's still a connection that we made. And there can be other ways that we can connect that's not via sponsorship. There may be other opportunities down the road, but at least now we've seen each other face to face and like met. And I feel like that is just a much more intimate and personable way versus a phone call where you have no idea what the other person on the other line is doing. Are they even really paying attention to you? Or are they multitasking? And etc. So that is my personal preference is Zoom. Again, the answer to the question really is going to be in the hand of the funder. Visionary, I hope that this episode blessed you. I hope that you gained some value out of it. If you did, please be sure to leave a review at the end, just letting me know how we're doing on the podcast. It enables us to reach more people and touch more lives worldwide. And I will catch you in next week's Wednesday episode where we have some super special guests coming on for the next couple weeks. So subscribe if you haven't already and have a wonderful rest of your week. Many blessings on you.